Hello awesome people of YouTube, welcome back to game number 5 between our Terran player MMA and his opponent FireCake. This is going to be game number 5 of the HomeStory Cup Grand Final. So I thought this was originally a best of 5, but it turns out that it's actually a best of 7, since there is a 5th game here. Now there is a big spoiler coming, so please, if you haven't seen the previous games, the annotations will be on the top of the video very shortly about now, so please watch those and don't spoil yourself any further, because that will be told, and of course then there will be very little point in actually watching the previous games. Okay, so we're currently at a standing of 3-1 in favor of MMA. The first and second game were won by MMA. The third game was won by FireCake using a brilliantly timed Nidus Worm, and the fourth game was won by MMA, bringing him to 3-1. Now, as per usual, we're seeing an early gas before the barracks. The barracks actually being put down here, so he will be interested in taking this expansion rather than the gold, because of course the gold is very difficult to defend. And this is potentially it. So you might think, okay, oh, look at this. Before I get into that, there's over 300 APM for MMA. Now, I'm not quite sure what he could be doing with 3 buildings and a few workers, but he obviously is APMing as much as he can. That was terrible. Okay, I'll stop doing that. So, yeah. So this is game number 5. It could potentially end here. It could move on to a game number 6 and potentially a game number 7 afterwards. But of course, we're going to wait and see how that turns out. So a base is already on the way. It does look like that hatchery was actually before the spawning pool. And the Overlord going around very at an odd angle, possibly to try to see if there's any sort of proxies or such, just going around the back. Obviously, he'll be able to see if there's anything going on here. Now, he does not want to get proxied, and to be honest, it's very common to get proxied in this map, simply because the map requires a lot of aggression. There we go, something MMA is not very characteristic for. In his previous games, he's starting with a triple barracks and using that for Reapers. So as you can see, he's got double gas and 3 barracks doing Reapers right now. So it's really going to be all up to these Reapers. If they don't work out, it's probably going to be GG from there onwards. Unless, of course, he does quite a significant amount of damage. So it's going to all really be depending on how much damage he does with them. And this Reaper, off to a good start, already has 2 kills. And looks like an evolution chamber has been put down as well. Probably going to end up cancelling that. It makes very little sense to keep it. There we go, the Reaper is now low health, gonna end up backing up and of course starting to regenerate some health. Metabolic boost is about half complete at this point, but no Zerglings are on the field as of yet, which is a little bit strange. I would have expected that if he's going to be getting metabolic boost and not roaches, then I thought that he would have some Zerglings by now. Instead, it does appear that, look at this, FireCake has actually decided to go for an extra expansion here. So obviously he doesn't know that this is happening. He doesn't see that there's so many. Sorry, up until now he didn't know that there will be triple Reapers coming out so quickly. So he did prepare for that extra expansion, but here we go. We have 5 Reapers coming in here. They almost one-shot a drone, so a lot of damage starts to be done here now. 5 total drones have already been taken out. A lot of these Zerglings also starting to drop. These Reapers now with this number are starting to do quite significant damage at this point, and finally starting to get them cleared up. Now these Reapers have done so much damage at this point that if he continues this, it might even be worth it. And he isn't exactly doing that. There we go. There's now Zerglings rushing straight into this base. The command center is also coming up, so he's trying to normalize the game. But at the same time, he is continuing with this Reaper aggression. So how is it going to turn out? I honestly don't know. Because if you look here, FireCake does have a almost fully saturated gold base, the third one. So he has 3 bases almost fully saturated before MMA has 2 bases. So these Zerglings now heading on back here, more and more drones getting taken out. A total of 7 drones lost in this engage, so that brings us up to a total of 12. So the economic damage that MMA is doing with these is actually not too bad. He's lost 8 Reapers, but at the same time destroyed 12 drones and 18 Zerglings. So I would call that worth it, because he's both suppressing army count and he's also suppressing the economy. And he needs to do exactly just that because of this gold base. I'm going to assume that he doesn't know about it. No, he doesn't indeed. So that could backfire, the fact that he doesn't know about it. I mean, it could result in the game being won by FireCake, because FireCake might get out some unexpected tech. As you can see, the Reaper production has actually stopped now. He's making Marines out of this barracks and also getting the stim pack out of it. There's two reactors also coming out, so holy, this looks like a lot of Marines. Now a 111 build, very lately executed, 3 barracks into 1 factory, 1 starport, so probably going to have double medevacs coming out of this, so I would expect further drops and harassment going on for MMA. Now these Reapers managed to clear up a few more Zerglings. This is actually pretty nice for him. And that one Reaper is starting to get a little bit low, but of course it will regenerate its health very, very quickly once it gets out of combat. Evolution Chamber has been put in front of this hatchery, which is all perfect. Roach Warren also on the way, so it does look like FireCake is interested in transferring into the Roach play very, very quickly. He'd probably want to get himself a very quick lair to get Glider Reconstitution, because of course Reapers is so fast and Roaches are slow. But on the other side, as we've already established, the Reaper production has now concluded. So at the moment it's only going to be Marines and Medevacs, and I believe that's going to be for Siege Tanks. Yes, it is. Quite standard Marine play, Terran play at the moment seems to be Marine, Medevac and Siege Tank. That's pretty much all that's involved in it. For the most part, of course. Now, these Reapers have just met their end. There's one Reaper just standing around here. Probably going to get cleaned up if it doesn't stay safe, and of course it won't. The purpose of this Reaper will now just be to get some scouting information. A lair is actually almost complete if you haven't noticed. 16 Roaches also on the way, so this could be quite significant here. Spine Crawler has also been put here, so he's obviously wanting to finish with this Reaper harassment. And a very nice surround here also going around the Reaper and catching it out. Finally, the Reaper engagement has been completed. Now there we go, we do have a big stim here from these Marines. Gonna get surrounded by the Medevacs also, loads them up and brings them away. Of course, he does not want to lose them so early without doing any significant damage yet. So let's see what's gonna go on here. Obviously, these Roaches are gonna want to follow, because if they don't, and the Marines manage to fully unload, then that could spell disaster for him. Now as you can see, combat shields, level 1 weapons and level 1 armor also on the way. And gonna pick up a free medevac here, which is pretty okay. Heals up his units. Supply blocks actually also. But of course there's 5 overlords being produced right now, so gonna be well over supply again very, very shortly. Okay, Glide Reconstitution is about to complete also. And we do have the 1-1 almost complete for the Terran player. And this could be a very important timing for FireCake. If he does not manage to burn this base down or do some significant damage to it, the economy that it'll bring to him, particularly with these mules, is going to absolutely rocket up and put FireCake in the dust. So as you can see, there is about a 500 minerals per minute difference right there. And looks like we have an infestation pit on the way also. So obviously he recognizes that he cannot do much with these siege tanks, and also there's 3 bunkers here as well. So obviously he's very, very much interested in keeping his base alive. A few supply depots also. This is pretty much preventing the surround, so that's why he's making so many things here. It's not really so much as to hold the Zerg back, it's to prevent a big surround from the Roaches and Zerglings. So as you can imagine, there would potentially be about 3 Roaches standing where the supply depot is standing right now, even maybe 4 if they're very clumped up. And that extra reduction of damage would be very beneficial for the tanks. They can nuke away safely from the back for a bit longer. And it looks like FireCake taking even more. I'm kind of questioning why he went for Infestors and Aspire at the same time. But then again, he does have Hive on the way. So maybe he's just going for Broodlords. I think that might very well be the case. Now there's a drop here and there's a Liberator on the other side. So obviously MMA is still out to do a bit of economic damage. Brings these back, not sure why. and sends his Liberator on back here. Gonna potentially pick off a few drones. There we go. One gets picked off before they all move on away. And the Liberator moves on to the next base. Now there is spine crawlers being, or spore crawlers being produced in pretty much all the bases at this point. He's gonna not want to lose anything to this. This Liberator just standing there doing nothing. And oh, this poor Marine getting caught out. And no fungal growth lands on that. Now as you saw there, that fungal growth didn't actually land on the medevac because it has a bit of a delay on it. It's one of the reasons why many players tend to not go for as many infestors as before. In the past, they used to just stockpile those. You could have 7, 8, 9 infestors in one group just because they can just chain fungal units. But here, you generally maybe get between 3 and 5 of them, and that's about it. If you get any more, then you're risking that if you miss, then at that point you have a lot lower army because of course you invested so many resources into getting yourself infestors. Okay, that's a lot of that's a lot of creep tumors. Where is the queen that's on the way here? There it is. Now this queen's only gonna be able to pop down 3, so not quite sure why he put down so many. As you can see here, there is quite a few corruptors. There's a total of 7 of them there, possibly thinking of getting broodlords out of them. Oh, and a big fungal growth going on to these medevacs. Gonna land all of those. And there we go. Again, gonna probably try again on these other medevacs. This could be quite deadly. One health on that infestor. Very, very well played here to just about manage to save it. He did snipe 2 medevacs. Didn't quite get the other 2. Now, I think if he did get those other 2, he'd be in a much better position to prevent these tanks from being sieged and basically just moving them around the whole time. As you can see, this is now starting to happen. We do have actually concussive shells out for the Marauders. So Marauders, even though they're not as powerful as they used to be, still very useful for slowing units which are running away. Oh, big sieges going down and lots of siege tank damage. A few spine crawlers being put down just basically to defend against this push. And this kind of nicely defends that base actually. So there you go, a lot of corrosive biles also going down. A big engage here. There is a bunch of broodlords now on the field. This could go the other way around right now. One siege tank gets taken out. Another siege tank also gets cleaned up. A few corrosive biles on these fungal medevacs as well. And here we go. The stimmed marines being used to just absolutely wreck these broodlords. Very, very well played here. He is going to be sacrificing these marines, but at the same time, he did manage to take out almost all the broodlords. Just 2 Vikings remaining, I believe, there in that group, just doing a bit of damage as well to these broodlords. 2 broodlords remaining, and the supply is just slightly favoring our Zerg player. So there you go, just throwing a few puck shots, trying to catch out. Now just to note, there was a bit of damage done here. And that was, I believe, an overlord getting cleaned up. Now this army gonna slowly be moving down here. I don't think he'd want to move so many queens off creep, because his army is actually a little bit smaller. Let's have a look at the supply cap, or the supply count. It looks like the army supply is very even. The worker count is actually heavier for MMA, which is very strange to see, to be honest, versus Zerg. In terms of APM, it does look like FireCake finally starting to show his dominance. Now all the upgrades are now going down. There's a lot of transfuses going on these queens. These queens getting caught out completely. He did clean up quite a few of them there, and the queens are so out of position right now. They're so slow off creep, and of course getting caught and destroyed. Pretty much all of them except for 1. So the army is going to be a lot weaker now. There is level 3 Carapace on the way also for his units. So this is potentially going to lead to Ultralisk at a later point if this continues. One lone siege tank standing here is going to get cleaned up very, very quickly here. This one base was being transformed to a planetary fortress, but is going to get attacked instead. It does look like it's getting repaired and will survive until it's made into a planetary fortress. These Marines, of course, being very menacing, very quick, and absolutely stoned off their heads. And here we go. Broodlords are now on the way. There's 5 Broodlords. Now, don't forget, Broodlords are very slow, so if the stim goes off here and starts going at these Broodlords, the Marines could kill them very quickly. Now, just to mention, Vikings very good against Broodlords. 14 damage times 2, which is a total of 28, which means less than 10 hits to finish them off. Nice fungal growth going down. Also, Broodlords starting to do a bit more damage here as well. And the supply is still favoring our Terran player MMA, so he would be very careful with these units. This one queen is moving a little bit too far forward, again getting it caught out. And looks like the Vikings are starting to do a bit of work here, starting to take out the Broodlords. And how much damage is going to be done here? These Marines running straight in, and this could be a perfect cleanup here for the Terran player. Gonna catch out that one last Broodlord before moving on with his army. Crazy supply difference right now, 40 supply in favor of the Marine or of the Terran, and GG has been called. This is pretty much it. As you can see, all of these extra casters or all these extra players have also been spectating this game. That was absolutely amazing. MMA takes the series, and as it is, also takes the tournament altogether. So this best of 7 now has been concluded. MMA takes it with a score of 4-1, which is pretty damn straightforward. I mean, he didn't really lose that many matches, and I have to say, MMA finishing this tournament and winning it and then retiring, dude, what are you doing? We're gonna miss you so hard because you were such a good player and unfortunately have now left us. I'd say maybe he will come back at some stage, maybe not, I really don't know. I don't think there has been that many comebacks after somebody retires, but that's pretty much it. I hope you've enjoyed this series. If you have, please leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more StarCraft 2 content. I have been sent some extra replays from a recent tournament, Nation Wars I think it's called, and I think it's only about 6 games, but still I will cast those indeed. And there's Hydra there who I can't wait to cast. He's a pretty damn awesome Zerg. And that's it. I'll end this video here. I hope you've enjoyed it again, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Good luck, take care, bye bye.